Alright, what is going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. In this video today, we're going to be going over why Apex Legends is currently dead in the water and what they can do to kind of reverse the trajectory that the game is currently on. If you are an Apex fan like myself, I'd urge you to hear me out before you leave a comment or put a dislike rating on this video, because I feel like a lot of the points I'm going to bring up in this video are pretty unanimously agreed upon. So with that all in mind, let's go ahead and get into it. Okay, the first point I'm going to go ahead and bring up is bugs, glitches, and performance issues on older gen consoles. This is a fairly large issue because most of the players are actually still on last gen consoles. Not enough people have moved to the newer gen, so we don't have to really worry about last gen as much, but most of the players are still playing on last gen, and if you play on last gen like I have, it is really night and day difference between that and PC. The performance issues are so numerous on the older gen consoles, and it is nearly impossible to play at times, depending on what your frame rate is. I'd also say glitches are also a pretty big issue. The game has a lot of, visual issues, menu issues, and a lot of gameplay issues as well with bugs like that, and especially they are a lot more numerous on last gen, which kind of ties into that previous point. Something I would do to relieve most of these issues is to take an off season where we don't release any new legend or any new items and just focus on like an Operation Health type season like they did in Rainbow Six Siege, and just focus on ironing out bugs and increasing performance on all consoles and all platforms, but mostly the last gen consoles. Next point I'm going to go ahead and bring up is there's still no cross progression. I remember cross progression being talked about all the way back in season 1 and 2 when people were really starting to get into PC gaming and PC gaming was starting to get a lot bigger. This is more of a huge issue now, especially since it has taken so long to get cross progression, and I would totally switch from my old gen console to a PC if I could just transfer all my cosmetics and call it good, but because that's not the case, I'm still going to be playing on last gen if I do decide to play competitive Apex, which is kind of unfortunate. But with all those things in mind, I still think cross progression is something that is pretty much uniform across most games now. I mean, Call of Duty Modern Warfare has it, Warzone has it, Halo has it, and I mean there's a lot of games that have this, but this game still does not, and I don't understand why. Respawn and EA, please add cross progression, please. The next point that I'd like to go ahead and talk about is hyper-competitive public matches. Now, a healthy player base is totally reliant on the casual players, and I feel like with a lot of the casual players, including some of my friends and I, there's no reason to play casual at all. Casual is so darn sweaty, and it feels like we're always getting placed against the top 1% of players at all times, and it feels like lobbies are dying out to top 5 squads within the first circle closing, and honestly, it kills a lot of the game and makes pubs pretty much unplayable. And for those who are still learning the game and trying to understand new mechanics, I feel so bad for you guys, because trying to learn how to actually play Apex in public matches, it is probably really awful, and I really think there needs to be something to relieve a lot of the stress on public matches, and there will be a point that I'll talk about a little bit later when we get to it that could help that out. Along with hyper-competitive public matches, there's also a lack of casual-friendly limited-time modes, and just a lack of limited-time modes in general. They need to have a limited-time mode playlist that just totally rotates, and that could totally help out the middle of the season feeling a lot less stale and things like that. And the problem with that is, I know, even back in Season 8, there was a whole collection event dedicated strictly just to a bunch of new LTMs that the community could get behind and have fun with. And I don't know why they don't do that anymore. Again, having more LTMs can only help the community, so they should really start adding more of those. The next point that I have is levels being capped at 500. I don't even need to get rewards for levels or Apex points or anything like that, but I would like to have more levels that I can grind to, like even up to 1,000, 2,000, something like that. There just needs to be something to actually grind for, whether it be a number that doesn't actually give you anything, but I think having a number by your name that shows, hey, I've devoted this much time and this is something I can work for and this is something that I can grind for, I think that's something that can only help people wanting to stay playing the game, and that can only help people out. The next point that I'd like to go ahead and talk about is collection events in general. Collection events are just straight up cash grabs at this point and don't actually add anything fun or new to the game, when they can be so much more, and they have been so much more. Again, I'm going to go ahead and mention Season 8 here. The 2-year anniversary collection event brought in so many skins, and it brought its own little event pass that you could grind through, and had so many limited time modes that were coming in. I think it was either every day or every other day or something like that, and that was so much fun. I remember that event so fondly just because of how much there was to do and how fresh the game felt every day I logged on. The current collection events have literally just been cash grabs. It has really just been skins and like a very bare bones free event pass that's really boring and not fun to grind through, since there's really not any new modes for it. Respawn, you guys can do better, and you guys have done better, and I expect more from you you guys, especially since you guys have made such a good game. The last point that I'd like to go ahead and mention is the new ranked system. However, it being a huge improvement to the old one, has pushed a bunch of older ranked players that would play ranked instead of casual playlists into pubs, which has in turn made pubs a lot more sweaty. I think maybe lowering the skill level for gold and platinum might be a little bit better. Not necessarily lower the skill level, but like lowering the cost of entry could probably help bring a little more of those ranked players into the ranked mode and keep them out of the public matches to keep pubs a little less sweaty. But that's really the best option that I have, because I think there needs to be a very competitive ranked mode for Apex, so it's kind of a tricky situation there, but I'd like to see at least a little bit more improvement made. Well, anyway, that's all I've got for this video, guys. If you did enjoy the video and like some of the points that I make sure you do like and subscribe, because I make more videos like this all the time. And let's go ahead and continue the discussion down in the comment section down below. But that's all I got for this video, guys. Stay hydrated. We will see you in the next video. Peace out, boys.